Let's see if we can get some music going. Where am I at? Well, hello, hello. Let's go ahead and get started, I think. Well, hello, hello, and welcome back. I'm AJ O'Neill, and this is Beyond Code Live. And what that means right now is really up in the air. But what it means right now is that I'm coding on a project in front of the world. And this project it's really one from about 2 or 3 years ago that is now being completely rebooted because of various reasons. But, you know, I love creating products. I hate taking payment for it because it's just one of those things that's out it's like paperwork. It's outside of the flow of the real thing that you want to do, what you want to provide for the world, but not doing it is irresponsible and stupid. So we're going to fix that. But I really, especially in recent years, I do not want to have anything to do with Stripe, and I do want to accept PayPal, but I don't want to rely on PayPal, and there's no need to rely on Stripe. So just 1 second, we're going to have a little network hiccup. Okay, looks like we didn't actually have a network hiccup. Great. I turned off the Wi-Fi because I realized that the Wi-Fi was on, and of course we don't want that now, do we? Anyway, so I've already done, this is actually more like number 3, but I have gone through some of the PCI spec and basically created a safe way to receive credit card information, because this is one of the reasons that well, I don't know. Stripe is kind of weird. It's like it's 100% marketing hype because there's other companies that do it and you get better rates and you have direct access to the merchant account and lots of other things. But one of the things that Stripe does is they give you this little plugin, and then the person takes the payment, or that does a redirect, and then they put in payment information, whatever. And it's you never handle the payment information on your server, which is great because there's a lot of things you could do by accident that would leak that customer data. So what I've done is I've used a custom JSON reviver so that any of the fields that are supposed to be private get wrapped in an object, and you'll see that as we go. And then I also followed some of Braintree's recommendation about creating a PCI compliant fingerprint. However, I wanted to use web crypto, and I don't believe that bcrypt is supported by web crypto. And also, it just seems like a lot of the credit cards don't really have a lot of security. There's only 4 digits that are secret, and that's only 10,000 iterations. And so with any amount of time that you expect to be able to process a customer request, even if the key expansion on the hash takes an entire second, and you're going to slow down your user interaction for a full second while you do this thing, it's not really going to make a difference to an attacker. So let's see what this has to say. I don't think subtle crypto, long running web crypto API. Let me see if I can just find web crypto, subtle crypto. PBKDF2. So let's see, what key expansion? Derive bits, derive key. So these are the only options that we have. And I don't know what HKDF is. I probably will know what that is if I look at it. That seems familiar. But yeah, they don't support scrypt or bcrypt, which is weird. But you know, the powers that be decided that for whatever reason that wasn't worth it. Let's see. Key derivation function. Hash. Is it hash key derivation function? Okay. I'm pretty... HMAC. HMAC. Okay, yes. I've used this before. I believe this is the same one that's used for the one-time passcodes. I'm not 100% sure on that, but... Yeah, okay. So that one's just... It's like PBKDF2, but simpler. It's got more configuration to it. Oh, wait, no, am I mistaken? Am I mistaken? Because this one's newer. What am I missing? Let me do a little bit of research on this real quick. This is not where I expected to spend this time, but that's okay, whatever, right? PBKDF2. I think... Yeah. Let's see. So the purpose of PBKDF2 is really more security theater than just running a SHA. Because in modern environments, you have such a wide array of different devices and whatnot that you're going to be working with, and that you need things to be compatible between. So, yeah, that's kind of my take on it. Is I am not convinced. I mean, if you want to pay for really, really powerful servers so that you can just do hashes faster, but then your attacker is going to be able to pay for those same servers, because so. And again, we're talking about that you need to be able to take the identifier of the credit card, and you need to be able to get that. Once they put in the credit card information, you need to be able to get that pretty quickly. You don't want your user sitting there waiting. Anyway. Okay. So I think HKDF probably came around the time, I don't know. I can't remember. I know that I've looked into it before and I've used it. It's very familiar. I'm pretty sure I did it with TOTP or HOTP. So TOTP and HOTP are part of the same set of standards. It's the 6-digit authentication codes. Those things, whether they're sent to you via text message or whether you get them in the app, it's that thing. That's what that is. Okay. So, all right, we're not gonna worry about that. What I do need to worry about, and I need to actually get an instance of this. Let's see. Hold on, I'm gonna look at something on the other screen for a second. There's a list of payment providers, and I want to see if I can get access to some sandbox documentation. So give me just a second to find that. Okay. All right, that's public sandbox. That's for NMI. I'm pretty sure I want the sandbox for Fluid Pay. I think that's what I'm looking at today. Yeah, okay. All right, so I'll bring this on over. So the two main companies right now that are white labeling everybody's payment processing is either FluidPay or NMI, and it's kind of the software package. So they host, the various companies host, a lot of them host both of the APIs because it makes it easier for people to switch between them. But anyway, it's all the same stuff as what you get with any. Well, I mean, they're pretty much all the same. It's just there's a little bit of difference in how the requests are formed and such, but it's pretty much all the same thing. Anyway, so we're going to be looking at the main thing that we need is to be able to identify a user by their credit card, and to be able to do this in such a way that if we get the same credit card twice, that we know it's the same user, so we can relate the account back to that user or inform the user somebody else's user credit card or whatever it might be. But we want to know that we've seen the credit card before, but we don't want to store the credit card. But also because credit cards are so insecure inherently, there's nothing you could do to solve this because it's a 100-year-old problem, or however long it is. I think it might be approaching. It's a long time. So let's see. When were credit cards introduced? 1800s. 1950s. Okay, so 3/4 of a century ago. In the 1960s. Introduced in 2010. Yeah. They just skip over the wireless contact payment there. that was introduced in the 90s or something, and it just, like, seriously, I had that little wave on the very first card I ever got. I had the little wave symbol. Nothing implemented it. Anyway, so yeah, long-standing problems here, and yeah, so there's just no secure that. And of the last four, the last digit is a checksum digit. So it's very hard to store any information about a card and have it be secure against an attack. If the attacker gains access to the database and you only store the, you store what is allowed, then it's very, very easy. Hold on a second. Looks like it. 1 second. Message from my wife. Okay. So anyway, yeah, it's like if somebody gets access to your database, your credit card database, you're hosed, because it's just so easily to go through the number of hashes because there's just not that many of them. And you can do hashes so quickly. And this is why people say, it's better to use something more secure than PBKDF2, but PBKDF2 is really the only thing that's standardized. It's the only thing that's really well standardized. And like I said, there's just so many different variables. I don't, if an attacker gets access to the credit card numbers, you're just hosed. You need to make sure that's the thing that needs to not happen. Because whether they're encrypted or, because they're going to get your encryption key, right? Like if they've got access to your infrastructure, they have access to your encryption key because your encryption key is part of your infrastructure deployment. So they're not gonna get access to the server anymore. Like this thing, you're running this thing in a container. No one's gonna be able to break into it. So it's the keys to the kingdom. It's not like the old days where somebody was going to get in, they were going to brute force, the root password on your server. That's the old school. That's 90s stuff. Nowadays, somebody's going to, social engineer your company. They're going to do a targeted attack. They're going to get the credentials that give them the keys to the kingdom. So anyway, yeah, point being, we want to follow all of the PCI recommendations and do a better job than anybody else is doing without sacrificing the vendor's own data. Like, for example, I don't want you to know who I'm using for credit card processing. That's my business. It's not your business. I don't need to know who the sales guy was that gave you the credit card. I don't need to know. Well, I mean, there's a lot of things I need to know about you to ship you something or whatever. But anyway, so yeah, so I've got part of this done. I got part of this done, and then we're just going to move on into. We need to get an indexed key, is what they call it, and what that means is really just means that it's random. So you're not going to take the fingerprint of the card and ever use it externally. It's only used internally, and the only internal use of it is to retrieve the indexed key and then to go from there. So that's where I'm at right now, is in our server, which doesn't do anything other than hello. Oh, wait, let me get to the other branch. All right. Whoops, that's not what I meant to do. So all our server does is we have this safe payments processor JSON that has a reviver, which replaces the secrets with a object that has a toString to JSON method that masks out the values. And the secret keys that we're looking for are PAN, which stands for primary account number. That means the full credit card number. And then CVC, which is the card verification code. And this is never allowed to be stored in any form whatsoever. And then, what do we do? Yeah, so we got the payments going. And so what we're going to need to do for this next bit is we're going to, I guess we're going to console.log. So the index key cannot be a hash. It cannot be a one-way hash. It cannot be an encrypted value. It cannot be anything that is directly related to the credit card. It needs to be something else. And I think this is a recommendation, not a requirement, but then they say that in the next issue, a lot of the recommendations will become requirements. Anyway, what we ought to do here, actually, maybe we ought to do it right in the parser. Let's see. Fingerprinter. See, do let fingerprint equals, and that's going to be data.pan, and then we have this toString method, which I kind of prefer to use value of, and then we have a mode, and we have payments.modes. What did I call it? Value, I think. You know what I'll do is we'll pass the pan into, I think I already had it this way. We're going to do payments.fingerprint pan. And one thing that we need to do is we need to have a salt for this vendor. So let me see. Do we have the .env? No, we don't. Okay, so we need to have... I forgot which one is the more common spelling. I think it's vendor with an O. Yeah. Alright, so we're going to do vendor with an O. There we go. I really don't want all of this in the server function. I want to move the routes out, but for right now, humor me. Right. Okay. And just some, I need to do a stream thing real quick. I'm just messing with a stream tool real quick. I realized something that I need to... Oh no, can we not nest? We cannot. Don't bother. I need to... change the bot here. Do... Oh, whoops. Oh no. Whoops. All right, give me a second. I'll be back. I gotta figure out, why is this thing not showing? Okay, now it's showing. All right. Okay, I'm almost done. I'm almost done. There's just something that's going to bite me in the butt. And I want to go ahead and fix it before it bites me in the butt. There we go. Okay. And I need to fix it somewhere else too, but I'm going to leave that there for now. Okay. All right, now I'm back. Now I'm back in the code. How's it going? What's up? So, yeah, I'm gonna fingerprint the data. Let's see. If not, res next. And yeah, we're gonna need the salt value. And then that should probably go, I don't know, around here. And then what else are we going to need? Iterations? What should we call this? Fingerprint salt? Um, 10,000. No, we'll just leave it at 0 because it must be set. Okay, that's a really long name, but we're going with it. That's 10,000, I think, is the minimum. Is that what we put in the tests? 100,000. Am I reading that right? 100,000? I really wish JSHint would fix that. That's like my biggest beef with JSHint right now, is not supporting number parsing properly. There we go. Ooh, this is an interesting one. This violates one of my rules. Actually, that's okay. We'll just leave it like that. So, one of my rules is that a parenthesis ends a line. A closing parenthesis ends a line. So you should never have a line of code that has something after the close of a parenthesis, because it's an indicator that you're getting too fancy. All right, there we go. So now we go down to, and we're going to have fingerprint salt. Does anybody know a good abbreviation for that? Bing, maybe? FP? I don't know. And then we're going to have to await this. And then this is actually considered a sensitive value. So the fingerprint, like I said, it is never to be exposed. Or, I mean, the rules are not absolute in most cases. The rules say use your best judgment in most cases. But the rule of thumb But a thing is that you do not expose the fingerprint, because if somebody has access to the fingerprint and the salt and the number of iterations, which, by the way, we should just pick a random number of iterations, because that is part of the magic of it. Which I don't know, because if they have the salt, then they have the iterations. But I mean, it's good if it's different, just so that it is something that, you know, it's another value that couldn't be guessed. But if we did, I don't know. Let's do simpler XXD. There we go. All right, so let's say we take right there and we do, oh wait, but it has to be over a certain number, so let's just put well, actually this will work. Okay, that's kind of a big number. Maybe we need a little smaller than that. There we go. Good. So we got some randomish number of iterations. I say randomish because I chose it to some degree, but no, it's random. It's random. Let's not be pedantic about that particular point. Okay, so then what we need to do is we need to fingerprint hex. And so here's a little bit of a trick. We're going to do create placeholder. And then we're going to do an object.assign. And this is for type hinting. The reason we do the object.assign. Data, and then fingerprint. All right. So there we go. And the reason for scoping things like this is it hints to the garbage collector to clean it up right away, which we don't want this stuff hanging around in memory if we can avoid it. And there's probably some... No, there's not really much in terms of a better way to do that. There is a way to have a buffer that you manually manage the memory of, but there's... Yeah, it's probably not actually that helpful. All right, so this is... Okay, at type... I forget what the express handler func is called. Oh, there's so much code I have with this. Let me see if I can crack something down real quick. You gotta be kidding me. Alright, well. There we go. .him. That's what it's called. I'm going to leave this over here for a second because I'm going to need that again very shortly, I'm sure. And... all right. So there's our fingerprinter. So by the time we get this body object, Really? Really? Are we playing that game? Apparently we are. Okay, apparently we are. It's always confusing to me when sometimes it... Whatever. Let's go ahead and do npm CI here. New version of npm is working a lot better. Much faster. I knew they'd get there. Well, I suspected it strongly. New is a strong word. All right, I think this actually maybe should belong up here. Okay, so here we are. And the thing that we want to see is that we should now have a fingerprint property in there. And we should be able to use it. So let's go ahead and take this, which for the purposes of this thing right here, I will just... Dang it! Come on. Give me a hard time. Huh? Okay, there we go. npm run start. Listening on 3000. Interesting. Well, that's good. Reminds me that we also need to have an error handler. So let's take a look at this again. Oh, whoops. There we go. Let's go ahead and run that. And then run this. What? We've got name, we've got pan, we've got CVC. What is this? Invalid count. Where's this coming from? String repeat. $117. Let's check that out. Len. Oh, is value -4. But for fingerprint, we got something wrong. It looks like. Payment.mode.value. Mode. Value of mode is equal to mask. So it should have just returned the value. Console.log. Let's just see what's going on here. Debug. How could it be so small? This is exactly how you leak credit card information. Putting debug statements where they don't belong. Okay, debug. 111. Oh, okay, yeah. Gotcha. Okay. Wait. Truncate. What would we call the length of the show? Actually, a little unclear. Oh, I know why this is happening. I know exactly why this is happening, actually, now that I think of it. Okay, cool. So, there we go. The default behavior. What's up? How's it going? Default behavior is that it's going to print out stars. That's good. Look, ma, no secrets. Look, ma, no fingerprints. Or, well, it actually says fingerprints. In which case, I'd need to do toString mode and then payments.modes.value. All right. Boom. All right, cool. And then we should see the fingerprint. There it is. That's the fingerprint. Got it. So now we need to have some sort of storage mechanism that we use to retrieve the fingerprint. And for the purposes that we have here, I think we'll just do an in-memory store. But I think we will... let's see. kdir lib store, memstore.js, do strict, let memstore equals module.exports, and then we do memstore.set key value and we'll do there we go. There's our database. What happens if you do JSON not stringify? Should be You get... Correct. Okay. Right. Okay. You get undefined. So... E... Okay, this is actually what we'll do. We'll say let val equals, if not valued. Well, no. Return, actually I think what we do is return null. Anything in a return null. And then we try JSON.parse value. Here we go. And then I don't know what we should do here. I guess we might as well actually just, we'd still need to bubble up that error either way. Okay, so there's our basic database. Boom. This is the key. And the value is an any. There we go. So there's our fancy schmancy database. So we'll go ahead and we'll start doing the mem store here. And we'll carry on from there. Let's see, okay, here we go. So now let's see. What do I do with this? Probably put a prefix on this. Okay, so what I'm going to do next, by the way, hello, how are you? What's going on? Is we're going to have a, we're going to insert this into our memory store in both directions, so that the index is the fingerprint and the index is also the random key that we generate. So when we all right, payments method create. What we're going to do is we are going to create an indexed key that's going to be crypto.getRandomBytes. So let new uint8 array. We'll go ahead and this doesn't have to be super strong, like cryptographically. So we can, let's see. How do I want to do this one? Well, actually, first what we need to do is we need to check our mem store and get data.fingerprint let. Actually, we can pass in the data. All right, I'm going to try something out real quick. So we're to bring this up here just so that we can say set. Oh, now we actually need multiple properties on this, because we need to figure out whether the value needs to be wrapped or not when we pull it from the database. All right, well, we'll just do this. If key dot, ooh, we might need to have a specialized function so that we can duck type this, because right now we have no way to duck type this. So we all right. We'll just call it this. So let me go back to our implementation of the placeholder, which is in our payments thing here. There we are. There we go. Now we can do some nice duck typing. Oh, this brings back the memories from a few years ago. Payments.loads.value. No, not key. Dang it. Placeholder. So this is where we should probably store some information about whether or not the value was a placeholder, so that when we get it later. Yeah. Okay. All right, so we actually do need to store the value. There we go. Now we got the placeholder again. Okay, so this is where it's a little bit nasty because we have some data wrapping that has to make it down into the storage implementation layer, and that's no fun. So what we probably will need to do is we probably need to have a wrapper over top of the storage implementation. I don't know. That's kind of tough. Or is there a way to do the boilerplate? I don't know. There should be some way to pass further down the placeholder information. Like, is this a wrapped value? Does this need to be secured in any particular way? Okay. Okay, so let's say it's like that. So now we can get and set placeholder values. Which means that now we can go back to our server. We can go to our mem store. Oh, wait, hold on. Yeah, the key is true on both sides, right? Because we can... Okay, so now it feels like... What color is your object? Oh, well. I mean, that's... There's a minimum complexity, and then there's a danger zone where if your minimum complexity is too high, people just get it wrong. So you're not any better off. So we have to kind of figure out how to straddle this line. So here we go with the value. This I find particularly interesting because it doesn't allow me. And then we have to declare what type this thing is. And say, look, this type is a string. You know, maybe. Yeah, I'm not sure how it, you know, the type guard stuff is pretty rough in typed JavaScript. Oops. All right, there we go. So now we have the ability to set an ID based on the key. Okay, so let's go to memstore. Nope, I'm in the wrong file. Whoops, I did the wrong thing there. Okay, so memstore get data.pan, and this is let token ID. And this is what we're going to cross-reference with what actually goes into the API. So we're creating, so we just because of the way that it is, we create a few layers of abstraction here. We grab our token ID. If not token ID, and then we probably also need to say what type this is going to be. And that's going to be a string. Or wait. Token ID is not a wrapped value. Okay. We're just declaring, hey, we know what this is. Got it. So if we have the token ID, we're just going to return success. And then instead of data, now we'll do and then let's get some random bytes. Does it get random values? Let's look for that. Get random values. What is this thing? Did I do it wrong? Oh, you know what else I wanted to do? Is I actually wanted to run this with bun. Is it not? I thought it was get random values. Okay, what is it in the web browser? Oh no. Do we have a new crypto primitive? What is this? Why did they do this to me? Oh my goodness. I think they have changed. Oh, there we go. That's why. I don't know what that thing was, but I don't like it. All right, there we go. And then, of course, we have to do our hex conversion. So we got token ID equals. Here it's utils dot bytes to hex token ID bytes. All right. And it would be fine just to use an incrementing number here. It doesn't matter what we do. We could do UUID. And in fact, what I would like this to be would be a ULID. That's what I would prefer. Do we have a browser spec for ULID yet? We've got UUID, but do we have ULID? Okay. Let's see. Okay, so let's actually do get random UUID, and we'll just skip this nonsense entirely. Okay, come on. Crypto dot. Crypot! Brah! There we go. It's just random UUID. That's all it is. Okay, got it? So we'll just use random UUID. This is a web standard. This is not a node thing. It's not a bun thing. It's a web standard. So we're going to do the, I'm going to do ULID because I like ULIDs more. Although it doesn't, you don't really have to have a ULID here. There's not a particular advantage to being a ULID. There we go. Token ID. Boom. And we could use some other strategy as well. Well, there we go. So here are our secret values that we don't want to accidentally get into the log. Our primary account number, our code verification, our card verification code, and our card, or our pan fingerprint is what it is. So doing good there. It's gonna be time for me to go pretty soon. Dinner's coming up. And I don't really like the state of this. I'm all about that top level routing life. Let's see, how do I want to do this? That might go there. I'm a little not sure how we should do that. Actually, I know what we should do. I've done this before. Actually, this will just work fine. So what we need to do is we need to replace this with app dot routes dot, well, I guess, yeah, we could do routes dot payment middleware. And then what we'll do is we actually just export this like this. So we do routes dot payments middleware equals, and that's how we'll do it. And then we can do routes dot say hello, routes dot API middleware. Then literally this will be API middleware is just like this. Although I think that one's generic enough that that kind of makes sense. So I might leave that one alone. Okay, so let's leave that one alone. And we're going to take a bunch of this stuff. We're going to move it to the other file. Place secrets. Alright, so lib router. Use strict. Let router equals module.exports. And then it's routes. Routes, okay. Oops. Let's see. Fingerprint salt. Fingerprint itters. Okay. Routes. 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 Oh, that's just app, right? I gotta think about this one. Don't want to think too hard. How's it going, everybody? Just moving some routes around for a moment. And then this one is, oops, array. Import handlers. Let's get some of this stuff up here. Right, oops. And then we will go to, let's see, exports. Huh. Let's see, this is going to be string, I think. Fingerprint iters. Oh yeah. What do you mean it doesn't have anything of that name? Oh, right. Because this has to be object ops. We'll get there. And then ops.fingerprint salt. Okay. So we're getting moved over. Actually, we won't need that here at all. Okay, so we got those out of the way. So payments create method. Okay. I think I can actually take that one out. Oh, just a second. This is going to be dinner time. Okay. And we're back. So, yeah, I got to wrap this up, but I'm just about done here. I just wanted to get this in a good place where it can be words. You know, words. Sometimes we use them. Crypto is defined but never used. Get rid of that. Does not exist on type void. All right. Return routes. There we go. Excellent. Let's see if that all works. Excellent. Okay, cool. So we should be able to... Oh, all right. We got a problem. We got a problem. We forgot to actually set the token ID. There we go. And then for the lifetime of the application, that should remain the same. So we've got some sort of problem going on. I'm not sure what that problem is, but we'll go ahead and... All right, where's our set function? Stringify data. Let's call this data. Let's simplify this a little bit. We're going to have a memstore.unwrap. That's going to be a function. Takes. We might do a little bit of type fudging here. String is not assignable to promise any. Oh. Async. There we go. And it's not really an any, it's kind of a string. It's kind of got to be a string. Well, I guess it doesn't, yeah, it's a key or its value, then it's got to be a string. Okay. So anyway, what we will do then is we will say, oh, but this doesn't, does this have to be? No, this one is just unwrapping, so it does not have to be a promise. This one is just straight up string. Or, I mean, it could be a straight up any, but we'll say it's a straight up string. That makes the most sense right now. Okay, so if undefined is type of data, then return null. And placeholder, yada yada. So wait, no, this is a rewrap. Okay, and then here we can get rid of all this. And then we can also do unwrap the placeholder there. Stringified data. Okay. I'm just gonna put this one little debug in there. PH key. And oh, whoops. Okay, let's see what we get here. All right, so there's our pan, and there's our value. All right. And so then we should get the same. I don't know why we're getting this. I don't know why this is random every time. Let's see what's going on here. What have I done? What have I mistakenly done? All right, so token ID. If token ID, await get data.pan. All right, let's take a look at that. Okay, there's a return there. There's the create placeholder. And that doesn't require any async. And there's no return on set. That makes sense. So there's a return on get. Undefined is type of. Okay, that value is obviously returned. We can see that working. So let's just try this one more time. Okay, so what do we see? Get gets undefined. Set. I think we might do in set a little wrong. Okay. So because we have to set it both ways. So we have to set the ID to the pan, and we have to set the pan to the ID so that we can get it from either direction. That's what was missing. Because when they give us the ID, we have to have that set to something else. But yeah, we need to be actually primarily we don't need to be able to retrieve the fingerprint from the ID. No, we don't. We don't. Let me update that real quick. So we don't need to be able to have the ID and get back the fingerprint. That's not what we need. We need to be able to take the fingerprint and then get back the ID. That's what we need. So some of that stuff that we just did, we probably don't need, and we could probably get rid of. Okay, so 7A49, 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 7A49 all day long. Excellent. So that's good. And then we're going to run this again. And then we get something different because it's a different, we're doing something different in memory. Okay. So now we have our indexed token. I'm going to go ahead and do a whip on this. There's probably something I'd like to do in between there, but... Oh wait, how's index been modified? Okay, so there's two things here. Whip, move to lib routes, add mem store, create token ID, indexed. All right, so that's where we're at. So there we go, indexed key. So that's what we got done. So what this means is that when we go to create, and we'll split routes out later, because we want routes. Well, actually, our server is the top level router, so that's good. So now, when we go to create a payment method, we're going to need to have an ID on our side that we recognize for this payment ID. And I have to look at the documentation again to see what layer of abstraction they're working at, but we're not necessarily going to say just because we get a different credit card that's necessarily is or isn't a different user. And I think that they require the credit card to be at the user level, and we might adapt that as well. But this is my thing. I want credit card to be able to be a part of a recovery mechanism, right? So if I give my credit card, then I can get an email sent with my recovery link. Especially because sometimes I've made business accounts and I forget which email account they go to. And it's just easier to have it pop up on my phone as a notification than try to remember. Or I'll do things like I'll vendor my emails, so say it's Amazon, and I'll do Amazon@mycompany.com or AWS@mycompany.com, so that the main the root level Amazon account has its own email address. But then sometimes you get into trouble with that. It's not a login email. Anyway, I need to go. Thanks for tuning in. Remember, if you like what you like, you get more of what you like. So like, sub, follow if you want to. Let the one who guide you. And there's the Discardo, if you want to join the Discardo. And I kind of want to do a little bit more on this tonight. There's something else I need to get done, but I just as a matter of, I kind of need to decompress a little bit still. I may just do one more thing on this, which is actually go and send the card number to the Gateway API, or at least get it ready for that. So this one, it's got the customer vault, create customer record, customer address, customer payment method. So I don't think that there is a way. There is a way to create a transaction without creating a customer, but I don't think that there's a way to create a payment method without creating a customer. So I think what we're going to do is have a layer of abstraction, potentially. Well, I guess we could take our ID and we could make a... Okay, so we actually do. We need one more layer of abstraction, because if we have a card, we need to... I don't know, that doesn't quite work. I gotta think on it a little bit. We'll just go forward with it when I get there, but basically we're going to... I think we're going to create a customer per card, and we're going to abstract that for our own purposes at a higher level in the application. Because really all I care about is creating the payment method. I don't care as much about creating the customer ID, because the credit card... I think of it like from a cryptography perspective, like passkeys. The new passkeys, where it's like your Touch ID is your identity. We might want to collect some other information about you, but your Touch ID is your identity. And that's kind of how I see the credit card. The credit card is effectively your identity. We might require... I mean, it makes sense that we might require verification via email or phone number before accepting the credit card. But I want there to be a way that credit card can be the identity. Anyway, with that said, I'm going to go ahead and get off. So again, thanks for tuning in. Catch you later. Adios.